Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first ever grand battle on the channel, and certainly the biggest 1v1 I have ever casted. And my hubris may be the death of me today because there are over 117,000 troops on this battlefield, and boy, I'm gonna give it my best, but there's definitely gonna be things I miss, so disclaimer and apologies ahead of time. Also, gotta give a huge shout out to Hawk in the official Lob Discord. They've been promoting my videos, and that's very, very kind of them. So from now on, I'm gonna drop a link to the Discord, the Lob Discord, in all of my casted Lob videos, and if you're not already a member, what are you doing? Come on, head on over there. It's a great time. But let's dive into this gargantuan game. In the north of the map, playing in the color red, we do have Mr. Nooble, which is an amazing username. And in the south of the map, playing in the color blue, we do have Von Alt. Now, I'm not going to do what I usually do and go over all of their armies because that would take way too long. So I'm going to go ahead and flash their army comps now, along with the player usernames. So take a second, look at those, and let's dive right into the battlefield. I really like this spawn. It's an interesting field. The two towns are what immediately stick out to me. I think these are going to be focal points, especially since they anchor both flanks of the neutral objective. Now, that's not going to be as easy as it looks, seeing as we do have a river on each side. So the deployment zone for kind of the heart of the battlefield is actually quite narrow. Now, you do have surrounding hills, where you can set up artillery batteries, and, you know, on the right flank as well with a little more elevation, even arcing over the town, which is kind of nice. But I don't know. I can't really say who I think has the better spawn. Red certainly can take up position in their cover sooner than blue can, but you certainly don't want to play this one too passively. You don't want to be playing by your objective because you are going to be ceding all of the good ground to your opponent, and you're just going to get pushed on. And I know some people think maybe taking these hills would be advisable because, you know, it would make a hard approach for the river. I don't advise that. I think you're giving up way too much of the initiative. But I mean, the army's pretty close. Red does have fewer infantry, but more elites, and they do have more artillery pieces, whereas blue just went all line infantry, 64. I've got the list pulled up so that I don't forget. And he went heavy on hussars, almost 20 of them, slightly fewer artillery pieces, and both players have a long line of skirmishes. So I am excited. I am hyped. I'm a little nervous. Let's dive in. Okay, so starting deployments here, looking very, very standard. And look at how quickly Von Alt rushes over to seize that right flank. And again, using skirmishers, why they're such a fun unit in the new update is because they're so good at not holding terrain per se, but seizing it and getting a foothold. And we can see Red already doing the same with his skirmishers, but he is looking like he might make a quick kind of probing attack. Now, whether he's going to support any of that with actual infantry or perhaps artillery fire remains to be seen. I would much rather him maybe make a battery here and start firing in on the main body of the enemy, which we can see he's already doing with the central batteries. I don't like how grouped up Mr. Nooble's cannons are. Whereas Von Alt's gone for almost kind of an AI looking deployment here. Just nice straight lines, nice even spacing. And it does look like he has a significant amount of his army going to the left flank and probably wants to set up on this high ground because he knows that Nooble's not going to be moving from this position. He's always going to have an anchor there. And so going to take advantage of that immobility and set up on these superior hills, which I like. I think trying to funnel all these guys up the gut, you're just going to get killed, and it's going to be far too predictable. All right. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Von Alt moving his army back and ceding some of the center to Red? I'm not sure about that. Maybe, okay, so maybe what he's possibly trying to do is bait red into charging the center and kind of catch him in a choke point. The problem with that is that in a choke point, he's not really going to be able to use all of his superior numbers of line infantry. So I'm not sure if retreating is the best bet. Also, he's kind of leaving these skirmishers isolated. He's got a couple cav in there that are going to do precisely nothing. I don't know. That retreat seems a bit odd to me, but it could possibly be a feint. All right. Oh, wow. Okay, so Nubly going right into the city. I think he sees this as a golden opportunity, and he's even going to bring up actual infantry support here using these pathways. Smart move. He's going to bring in what looks to be about 7 or 8 infantry units, and he's going to take advantage of this because if he can claim both towns, set up a solid line here, the Otis is now really on Van Alt, and he's going to have to make some sort of attack because, again, by pushing back and by not supporting these guys in the town at all, he's ceding the superior ground to his opponent. All right, so red is now fully in control of both towns. He's taking the center objective as well. A long, winding march by what looks to be about a third of the blue force. And he's got the only heavier cavalry in this group. Maybe this one Dragoon's the general. That's how I'm going to picture it. Bringing up what looks to be about 6 batteries. I just don't know. Like, what's the play here? Is the play to set up here and win this local battle? I mean, your local reinforcements are just going to make sure that you never win that fight. So I'm not sure here. Now, I will say the one thing for Nubly is that he has spread out quite thin, and his center is not really caught up to either his right or his left flank. So that could be an issue. But by being so passive, blue has kind of not made that an issue. All right, Nubly fully taking over pretty much all of the favorable ground on the battlefield. He's even going to push forward into sort of the back camp of his opponent, and this is a pretty powerful force we have here. Now, there's not a lot of reinforcements, and these guys are crossing over a lot of open ground, which has me a little bit worried. But I mean, the skirmishers doing what they do, absorbing fire. Maybe he thinks he can charge this battery, and maybe he's just trying to get this huge mass of light infantry to move, kind of go out of position, maybe take advantage with these guns here. He's got very little cavalry support, which is a little bit concerning, but maybe he's just going to probe. I wonder if surely if Van Alt goes all the way across the river, I mean, that's kind of curtains for him, right? Like he's officially kind of given up all of the initiative to red. All right, so it looks like he's going to be pulling back here in the center, continuing to push in on the right, and he's taking pretty significant casualties, and it looks like red's going to be pulling back on the left as well, and maybe surrendering that town is a wise move, but I liked that there. I liked that holding force. I think they could have inflicted a lot of casualties for what blue would have been able to gain. He's got a huge mass of curs here. I almost forgot. He's got, what was it, 8 curs in his army. So he's got a huge heavy cav contingent. And I think he's put that on the right flank, that being the right flank. And I don't like the surrender of this position. Maybe he wants to conserve his infantry because he is outnumbered by blue here. So he can't just throw away infantry, but there's a fight on the right flank as well. Mainly just some skirmishers, a couple of line infantry getting evolved. But it does look like red might be wanting to pull back to this town. And the one thing that concerns me, and I've been seeing this in so many replays, is the lack of cohesion with the army. I mean, just so many units in the center. Like, he could be forming a line here and making a very scary presence for the main body of blue. But he's deciding to keep all of these guys back here to ward off this attack, which, I mean, honestly, this force in the town could probably hold off quite well. And that would free up his center to actually maybe pressure the enemy. All right, so it looks like Red's attack on the right is going to be fully repelled. Not significant casualties for either player, so it's not like that was a major ordeal. And if we move over to the left flank here, okay, so Blue is now getting in position, and I gotta give Van Alt credit. He is being very methodical, and he's not being hasty. He knows he wants to make an attack on the left, and he's pulled almost, I think that's half of his guns. It's half of his guns just to this left flank. So he's really gunning on this attack being successful, and he's brought a lot of artillery support, but the amount of damage that these tiles soak from artillery, it's going to make it a tough nut to crack. We got kind of a mini Gibraltar here, and there's really only 2 crossing points to get to the main body. And it's just going to be a very hard position to flank or, really surround. There's some good melee units in here, quick reinforcements, lots of artillery support from Red. So, I mean, if this attack works from Blue, it could be nice, because then he could bring up that huge mass in the center fairly quickly over the open ground. But if it doesn't work, it's going to be a lot of capital invested. And he's also got to keep an eye on that huge cavalry force to the north as well. So we're reaching about the halfway point, and it looks like we might be entering a standoff. Let's speed this up just a little bit. Okay, yeah, so both players deciding to play this very, very cautiously, neither wanting to make a bad move. And we can see in the new update, the artillery fire into terrain, just how little damage it does. And we're seeing how important skirmishers are as cannonball soakers as well. That's another thing that they do very well. They keep a lot of that fire off of things like guards or cavalry. Unless, you're playing it smart and you're not targeting them, which you probably shouldn't. Okay, interesting move here by Van Alt. He's going to seize the town. I like this. I like that he's giving a nice spot for his skirmishers. It's going to make it hard for these cavalry to just quickly come in and clean them up. The one thing, though, for Mr. Nubly is this cavalry, I like where it is. I like that it's supporting what looks to be the critical attack. There's just not a lot of good ground for this cavalry to move at all. Which makes me nervous on how they can be utilized. But I mean, just the presence of that many horsemen can have an effect all on its own. All right, so it looks like it's going to be Van Alt that's going to make the attack here. Main push on the right, going to be a lot of cannons supported by hussars on the front. And I think Van Alt sees a critical weakness here. I can't believe I didn't see this until now, but there are a ton of unsupported lights, and there are also 4 artillery pieces mixed in there. Now, I don't think these hussars will be able to get in time, but I mean, this could be a really juicy catch for the blue cavalry. Pushing in, hussars deciding not to run, so it looks like they're just trying to chase the cannons off, but he's making the main push on the left. And now Red defending from the main town. Lots of artillery coming from all sides. And hold on, we gotta pause this. We're really seeing the importance of taking favorable ground. Because if this was an open field battle, and this was, formations were the same, these 2 spots for Mr. Nubly would be getting hammered. I mean, just look at how many guns at such close range are pouring in fire here. But because he took the ground at the beginning of the battle, he's going to be able to hold these positions way longer than he has any right to. And that might come to bite Van Alt in the butt. We'll have to see. But I don't know. With so many troops invested on both flanks, is he going to have enough in the center to hold the main line? Because if these 2 groups get isolated from each other, then the battle is over. Because, I mean, they just won't be able to support, they'll get surrounded, and then it'll really be curtains for Red. It's still looking favorable for Blue at the moment. He's getting some nice surrounds. He's doing well with his deployment, even starting to send in some troops to melee inside the town, picking off a couple of skirmishers. And I'm not seeing super effective artillery fire from either side, except for this kind of small battery hammering the center. There's just so much here to keep track of. He's also got this kind of battery in the back, which is going to be very, very safe. And it looks like he's coming in for a probing attack here. He's still got his main body of cavalry here. And the blue cavalry, it's kind of just all charging in with the infantry. I'm not going to lie, this is a bit of a sloppy advance here from Von Alt. Just because there's so much that has to go forward and there's such a small avenue for them to attack quickly. So, I mean, probably not an intentional kind of blob here, but it is starting to get a bit sloppy. But there's only really one thin line, the thin red line, that's going to be able to try to hold this off. And yeah, they're going to have to do work, these few line infantry and these guards. Town's continuing to hold here. Hussars pushing through. Now a withdrawal from Von Alt. I'm not sure about, why is he withdrawing? Does he see something that I don't see? I mean, there's a lot of red that can get mired in. Perhaps he just doesn't want to get caught in a bloodbath right here. But he's got to make something happen. If he just continues to assault these two towns, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Let's see what units are breaking here. Yeah, both armies are getting pretty battered in places, but it's not like one flank is breaking for either player. Red continuing to reinforce. His cavalry are continuing to sit in the north, and I mean, they're not taking any damage, but is this going to be like the Ride of the Rohirrim? Are they going to charge in last minute? That would be cool, right? A big hammer strike when the center engagement happens. And that might be actually what Von Alt is scared of. He knows that as soon as his men get stuck in, those cavalry can wheel and deal, and they can cause a lot of damage. All right. Yeah, these town fights, man, this is just such a knockdown, drag-out fight. I mean, superior numbers versus superior position. This is a classic example of that. And I mean, look at the power bar. It's so close. Man, I really can't tell who's winning, and it's almost 3/4 of the way through the game. So I think maybe around turn 52 or 53, somebody's going to move, and that's going to be the decider here. Artillery continuing to hammer in. Skirmishers continuing to hold the line. And I think Blue, his lack of aggression here is really starting to hurt him. Firefights continuing to happen. It looks like, oh, okay, the cavalry are on the move. They are moving as a wall of steel and flesh, and I think I know exactly where they're going. They are going to slam into that center and just mop up what looks to be a lot of not, totally wounded units, but there are some pretty weak org units in here, and he realizes that attacking here, that's going to be a suicide mission, so why not charge across the open ground and allow these two anchors to kind of be the two goalposts while he just, kicks right through here. Wow, this is going to be really cool. I hope they make it in time before the battle ends. Okay, so he's going to push now as well. He's going to try to get Blue stuck in on the center. And here it is. Sound the bugles, boys! The trumpets are sounding, and here come the heavy cavalry, and now we have a huge engagement in the center. We have a huge blob of blue infantry versus a thin line of red, including some elites, and we're going to have a ton of cavalry sweeping in from the back. And obviously no person is going to win, but it's all going to come down to casualties, and now red can see I have done more damage to my opponent, so as long as I just am aggressive here and continue to get kills, I will win the game by default. All right, 57, 58, 59, the centers are officially engaged here, and a lot of blue units are running for the hills. The guards and the curs are massacring the blue hussars and line infantry, and that is going to be game. That was a really fun one. Oh man, grand battles. Wow, it's a lot, but that was so cool. Okay, so we have a very razor thin victory for Mr. Noobly, and these guys were relatively new players. They certainly didn't play like it. I guess maybe they played newer, as in they were leaning more towards passive rather than being aggressive where they could have been. But I mean, they weren't making reckless charges. They weren't throwing away units. So yeah, well done to both players. Now, if we take a look Yeah, 61,000 men versus 55,000. We see superior horsemen for Von Alt, but in quality, we definitely had Nubli in charge. More guns for Nubli, less guns for Von Alt. And we did see the line infantry spam kind of fail blue here, just because of positioning. This all came down to positioning. The fact that red was able to secure both flanks in such a just strong way, it kind of lost blue the battle from the beginning, and it made him have to take those inferior fights, which, you know, he had the ability to do with his lower number or his higher numbers, but still not an ideal situation. And yeah, I mean, you can tell this is a Pyrrhic victory, because only 15,000 casualties for Von Alt against 14,200 for Nubli, more like 14,300. I mean, so it was a matter of about 800 losses, which is really, really insane. But we can see in the cavalry engagements, just all of those hussars getting trampled by the curs and the fire from the guards and even the line infantry. Just not what hussars are meant for. That big kind of middle engagement, that slug down, drag out fight. That's exactly where you don't want your hussars. So really, really fun battle. Guys, I hope you enjoyed all of those troops moving around. Yeah, and shout out again to the official Lines of Battle Discord. Go join, description below if you haven't yet. And let me know what you guys want to see. Do you guys want to see smaller battles, bigger battles, team battles? Though those are hard to find. Let me know. But until next time, have a great day. Have a great life. See you later.